Hello, everyone. Happy Monday, or actually, depending on where you're watching this from, happy Monday or happy Tuesday. I know that our guest for today's live is already on her Tuesday because she is joining us from Australia, which is just the coolest. So today we're chatting with Milli from Bear Social Agency, and we're talking all things humanizing your brand on social media. This is a big topic that I have been pushing for a while now, so I'm really excited to pick another social media manager's brain and to get her insights on it and her expertise. So I'm going to invite Milli into the call right now. Let me know where you guys are watching from.
Hello.
Hi, Milli. How are
I'm good.
you?
How are you?
I am doing pretty good. It's been
Yeah.
a minute since we've chatted. Have you been
Yes.
staying busy?
Very.
I love it. Yeah,
Yeah.
same here. But I think busy is a good thing in like our line of work specifically. So cool. What's the
It's
weather
pretty
like for
crap.
you there today?
It looks like it's about to start pouring with rain. I think it rained all night last night. So I'm just waiting for it. I've like got all the
Oh,
lights on because it's just like
bummer.
so dark and gloomy outside.
That's the worst. Yeah, it's the worst, especially like if you do anything in the mornings. Like I know it takes a while for
Yeah.
it to not look so gloomy here. So
Yeah.
if you rely on natural light, mornings can be a little tricky. Well, cool. As you saw, I did a quick little intro, but I would love for you to just introduce yourself, your
Yeah,
agency, let
so
everyone know
my
what you
name's
do.
Millie. I'm the owner of Bear Social Agency. So I'm a freelance social media manager and I work with lots of different brands, typically female-led brands. That's where my kind of passion comes from. And yeah, I love what I do. And I've been doing this for like a year now. So yeah.
Amazing. Incredible. And remind me
So I'm
exactly
in
where you're at,
Brisbane,
like where you're
Australia.
located.
So it's in Queensland.
Brisbane. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's really cool. I love it. I was still trying to wrap my head around it like last night when I was thinking about
Yeah.
like posting to like talk about the live. I was like, oh wait, I think she's gonna be asleep by like the time I post about this. So anyway, yeah. I was like I couldn't remember exactly where you're at. But anyway, today we're talking about humanizing your brand on social media and the importance of it and how to do it. So I'm really excited to dive into this topic with you because this is a struggle
Yeah.
that I see my clients having a lot. But I think it's so important and so like
Yeah.
vital in 2023 for growth on social media. So it's interesting, like people struggle with it, but yet it is like
Yeah.
one of the things you
Definitely.
have to do, I think, as a brand. So I want to dive into like the nitty gritty. So what I did was I typed up like a few questions
Yeah.
and I figured we could just bounce back and forth between our answers. Okay, cool. So I was going to ask first,
Mhm.
just to like get the basics down. What does humanizing a
Well, I
brand
think
mean
I
to
kind of
you?
see it as like not taking yourself too seriously and not just, being a business 24/7. Like you're still a person or you're still people
Yeah.
and, you can talk to your audience like they are your friends. You don't have to talk to them like they're the CEO of a company or something. Like you don't have to use all these business
Mm-hmm.
jargon with people. You can show funny behind the scenes moments and you can show like what your brand does and who you are and what you value and what you believe. It doesn't have to be we're a business and we're super professional and this is what we do. And you can literally be human. Like people are gonna love you for it.
I love it. It's true. Like, I think really, like, you hit the nail on the head. Like, it's
Mm,
becoming relatable to your audience, right? Like, humanizing your brand is just becoming more than just a product or more than just a service. It's becoming this entity, I guess, or like something that people rely on you and they trust your brand. They feel like they are
yeah.
loyal to you because they feel like they know you on some type of intimate level. I think that's what it is, but it takes time to develop that. But I think, yeah, I think we're both saying the same thing. Humanizing a brand is figuring out a way to take this product or service or, group of products and services, whatever it might be, figuring out a way to turn that into something that people can relate to and laugh with and learn from. It's not just being salesy. It's making becoming friends with your audience almost. Which, is I realize
it's easier said than done.
But it's that but it's that simple in the idea of it, right? Like it's that simple. Anything else you want to add to the definition?
I don't think so. I think it's just like, to me, I think I see it as really connecting with your audience, just being personable.
That's a good word.
All of that.
Yeah, I love connecting. Yeah, so that's another aspect. It's not only becoming like, less business jargon, but also truly authentic, like connecting one-on-one with. I love that. And so I'm going to ask you a question that isn't on our list, but what are ways that you have found work best when you're trying to connect with your audience from your client's perspective? So from a brand on social.
So definitely one of the brands that I work with has been a jewelry company. And so, it's selling a physical product. So it's like, how do I make it about me? Like, how do I humanize this where it's about the company? But pretty much a lot of, I think the biggest piece of content is behind the scenes things. So like sometimes a team will do like little outings to like conferences or just like lunch or whatever. And, film it, take photos, share the story of your day, like share something that each team member really enjoyed from seeing this particular person speak or something. Behind the scenes content is definitely, I think, the biggest one that is really good, because people are seeing, like your audience is seeing a different side of you. They're not seeing this like professional, has it all together kind of thing. Like they're seeing what goes in to everything that they're seeing like on their screens.
Yeah. It's like breaking that fourth wall, like showing them like the unpolished side of what you guys are doing. People eat that up. People love when a brand does that. And it's so easy to do. I know it can, I feel like a lot of like business owners that I work with find that to be really intimidating to like put their face to their content, or even to just show behind the scenes footage. But it's really, I think it's less of an intimidation factor, and it's more just like something that they haven't done. Do you know what I mean? Like once you do it once or twice, you realize that it's okay. This is not scary. This is literally just me pulling out my cell phone and showing what's going on, and just being, relatable. Or even having, like you said, your employees do it to show their, perspective on, a training, or what a day in their life looks like, as customer service representative for your brand or whatever it might be. I think that's a really good way. Behind the scenes is a really great way to connect with your audience. I think too, without showing your face, or without truly being like turning into a human or whatever, the humanizing factor, a really simple way is just like talking to your audience, like responding to the comments that they're leaving on your posts. You'd be surprised. I mean, I'm sure you believe me, but for the people watching, you'd be surprised how many businesses get comments but do not engage back or don't respond back. Why? Like these are real people interacting with your brand. Be a human and say something back. Like that's another way I think that humanizing can be done, is by simply
it's very easy to just on social media. Like, oh hey, I've got a comment, there we go. Like it's so easy to respond.
And I think it's so easy, and you can take it a step further and like ask them a question. If they don't respond, fine, but like if they say like, oh, this is I really think I might want this product, you'd be like, like we've had a lot of good reviews, like say it's for their kid or something, like how old is your child, you know what I mean, like
conversation going,
not a robot. Don't just be like thanks. Correct. Like don't just,
or like send like just a little
like the comment. You can be engaging. Like put some thought behind it, right? Like these are people who are investing And even if they're just
Yeah,
commenting, they're like helping your brand by engaging. So
yeah,
I think that's another simple way to start
definitely.
with humanizing your brand. So we
Mm-hmm.
can move on to another question. This is probably my favorite one, selfishly, because I really, really want to hear your thoughts on this. Why do you think it's important in today's culture on social media, like in 2023, why is it so invaluable, like I said, for a business to become
Here's the
personable or
thing. I
humanized?
think it's like you seriously, no one's going to trust you these days unless you're getting personal. Like,
Dang.
no one's going to trust you if you're just posting photos of like a water bottle that you sell, and you just, that's all you post. It's just a water bottle. You say, I sell this water bottle, here you go, that's it. No one's gonna, like, what are you selling? You're just selling a piece of plastic. You're not selling me emotion. You're not like telling me your story. You're not telling me how this water bottle is made, or like how you started your business. Like, no one's going to trust you. Like, this day and age,
Yeah.
no one trusts anyone who doesn't have a backstory. Like, it's just, especially with social media, it's so easy to just put up little bits of information like that. And so when there's nothing, when it's crickets,
Yeah.
everyone's just like, no, I'm not going there. And I think like the biggest thing for me,
Yeah.
the biggest like example is like Coca-Cola ads. I don't know why this came to my head, but like, I know that at least in Australia, every Christmas time there's like a Coca-Cola ad, and it's always this like really heartwarming, like
Mm-hmm.
out of like Santa and these kids and something to do with Coke. And I hate Coke. I like hate drinking it. I
Yeah.
don't love it at all. But every time I see the ad, because it's like being personal, it's like adding this like human emotion to a drink. I'm like, oh, I kind of, maybe I want to drink Coke now. Like,
Mm-hmm.
maybe because that's like the emotion, that's like the human, it's appealing to the human in me. I'm like, maybe I want to drink the Coke. Like, it's telling like a human story, and it's humanizing the
I
brand.
love
I'm
that
just
so
like,
much.
okay, I quite like
Yeah.
that now.
That is a really great example. Yes, we have,
Yeah.
I think, probably the same commercials or very similar commercials with Coke around
Mm.
Christmas time here as well. Yeah, and it's so interesting how it does that, especially with brands that have been around forever. It's
Yeah.
interesting, like how around the holidays they all
Yeah.
go. You know, everyone knows who Coke is, but they'll still invest the
Yeah.
money and the time to create this
Hmm.
like humanized story for their brand because
Yeah.
they understand
Exactly.
the value of humanizing their brand. But I am just so happy that you
Mm.
used that word trust. I think that's like the
Yeah.
perfect reason, like it's the perfect word, like to sum it up with, is people aren't going to trust you or subconsciously
Yeah.
like even believe that you're a legitimate business. I don't think, you know, if you're not um, showing
Yeah.
different sides other than just product,
Yeah.
product, product. Like it just looks spammy. And some people might not even like realize that's what they're thinking, but I think it could be subconscious. But like most people would just
Yeah.
click out of that profile so quickly if they even
Yeah.
happen to get onto the profile, right? I think, you know, I say this a lot in 2023 too, like our profile is our storefront. So this is your opportunity,
Mm.
or this is Instagram specifically, but any page that you have, like this is your brand's opportunity to be like, you know, if someone's walking into your store, be
Yeah.
like, hi, like there's real people here. You know what I mean? Like it's not
Yeah.
just like some robot like running the show. And we're at the end of the day, I don't mean
Mm.
to use this word so much, but we're all human. And
Yeah.
humans like to connect with other humans, and we like to hear stories, and we like to relate with other people like us. Like
Yeah.
it's like psychology 101, really. And so if you've you know, if you've done
Yeah.
marketing of any kind, like it's been around forever, but with social, it's just been an interesting thing where we went through this phase of having like
Mm.
all polished content,
Yeah.
especially in the world of Instagram or like any photo based, you know, platforms, where it's just all perfect content and like the background had to be
Yeah.
perfect. You know what I mean? And you had to like, if you were going to be a
Yeah.
humanized brand, like you better have a set or something because you definitely don't want to be just like
Yeah.
in the owner's kitchen or
Yeah.
something. But that's completely flipped, like completely done a 180, which is such an exciting time because that means you don't have to spend a lot of money to
Yeah.
become a brand that's personable or humanized. You can just pick up your phone, like we said a
Yeah.
few times, and
Definitely.
start recording. So, um, so speaking of like, I think I kind of segued into this next question. What are some ways businesses can start the process of humanizing their brand on social media? I know we've mentioned a couple, like, I know we kind of tapped into it earlier, but like, first thing, like if you were a brand and you were like, okay, I only have products up on my page or mostly products, what's like the first thing you would have a client
again
do?
like kind of touching on what we've already said, the first thing I would say is like take it literally. It's called humanizing your brand. Like be a human, show the humans or human behind your brand. Like I think for me personally, I think one of the first things I did was like I put like a photo of myself on and like did like a little introduction of like who I am, why I started my business, like little story behind my business kind of thing. And like for product-based businesses, like showing like, hey, this is me, fun facts about me, this is when I started the business, little business backstory. You don't even have to like show your face. You can just show a product and be like, this is the story behind like blank, and just tell the story behind how your brand started, you know. Like I think definitely taking it literally and really like, again, I feel like we're saying human a lot, but like really just like show up as a human being. And you don't necessarily have to show your face. It's a bonus if you do, because people are definitely more likely to trust a face than a logo. But yeah, it's like,
I do agree.
I think that's like one of the biggest things. And like you said as well, like responding to comments sincerely and like genuinely wanting to be responding to those comments, like, because people can tell when you're just like, yeah, whatever, like thanks.
And authentic. It is true. Again, this could be a subconscious thing, but I believe anyone can tell when you're not being yourself. Like whether they know you or not, I think we've seen enough, you know, 10-second clips on TikTok, Instagram, or whatever. We know someone's trying to be someone else, or if they're being their true, genuine self. And I think that goes with brands too. I think those are really good ways to start. And again, so many people hate showing their faces in the beginning. So I like to just give the suggestion of like, show a day, like, okay, let's do behind the scenes, show a day in the life or whatever. And you don't have to show your face. Show what you're doing though. You know, like show your POV. So that usually gives people like, A, they're practicing like just getting their phone out more often. But then B, like they're knowing what it's like when they post something a little more personal without like showing their face and talking. And I will say like step 2 is usually, if we're talking humanizing your videos, showing your face, but like just having music play over it. And then step 3 would be talking, because that is always the most intimidating to people, is like face and like a voiceover. It's funny, like voiceover too for my clients, it feels like that I can never get them to really want to do, even if they're not showing their face at all. It's like their voice, something about the voice humans like usually aren't not everyone is comfortable with. But yeah, so that's my 2 cents, like on starting out. Start, you know, flip the camera around. If you don't want to show your face, a really good, a really easy way is just to do a day in the life point of view. Just show what you're doing. So that's my first step. And then of course, humanizing your copy is another easy first step. So like if you're writing a caption, and make the first sentence be about who you're talking to versus about your product, you know? So I think those would be my first 2 like little segues into humanizing the brand. There's so much that you
it's
can
impossible
do.
to list it all.
There's so much. It is, and it doesn't matter if you're a business of one or a business of, you know, like Coca-Cola, like you were saying, a business of thousands. You can be a human. You can humanize this brand. And I would say like something to just keep in mind is to like continually ask yourself and your employees or whoever's on your like creative team who you want your brand to be. Like what's the tone of voice? Like are we gonna be bubbly? Are we gonna be funny? Are we gonna be like, you know, some brands are really funny and like sarcastic on their Twitter accounts. Those are my favorite. Yes, those are my favorite. Mine too. But like, you know, make that idea in the beginning as soon as you can, like, and determine like, this is who we're going to be. And I do think once you get those guidelines in check too, it's really simple to start creating content, because you you have guidelines,
Yeah.
and you just stay between, you know, in between the lines, and you just keep going and trying. Okay,
Mhm.
so I have another question here that I kind of thought about last minute, but I get a lot of well, not backlash, but like I feel like, again, not all business owners think that
Yeah.
this is the best
Mhm.
move. So I'm curious what your thoughts are.
Yeah.
When there's a trend on social media, and I'm talking any trend, like a trending sound, or like maybe it's Rihanna Super Bowl memes, whatever. What are your thoughts on businesses hopping on those trends? Is do you think it depends on the industry that the business is in? Do you think it's too like
Mm.
childish or too casual? Like, is there a point where you can be like too humanized as a
Yeah.
brand? Like, how do you balance the professionalism
I
versus human? So, what
think
are your thoughts
if
on
it's
trends for
relevant
businesses?
to your brand and the kind of brand voice you're trying to
Mm,
convey and the brand personality, absolutely go for it. Like if it is relevant to your brand and what
I
you
love that.
already post, if you already like kind of making fun of yourself a little bit, like I think the perfect example is like Ryanair and like different like airline companies on Twitter and TikTok make like the weirdest content,
Yes,
just absolutely like joking about
they
themselves
do.
and just like all these comments that they hear about themselves, just making fun of themselves. If you already post content that's like funny and relatable and just like not really taking yourself too seriously, and there's a
Mm-hmm.
trend that's kind of like, I guess, relevant to that, go for it. Like it's in line with what you already post, it's in line with your brand
Yeah.
voice, who you are, your personality. If it's like completely far-fetched, like nothing to do with anything you've posted before, doesn't sound like if someone was scrolling through the feed and they wouldn't immediately think that was from you, don't do it. Because you don't have to jump on every trend.
That's
Like
really
yes, there could
good.
be a trend that's really doing really well for people. I think there was one on TikTok where everyone was jumping on it because it was just for some reason, I think it was like that one like in a boat or something, and people were like just posing in a boat,
Yes.
and it was like
I
oh
had
seriously, for
nightmares
some
about that. I
reason
feel
it
like
was
I
doing
still
well for
see it.
like
I don't know how.
everyone. And everyone was like, oh, I've got to jump on it. I'm like, you don't though. It doesn't have anything to do with your brand. Like, we don't have to.
Yes, and any
They're
followers
not
that you
gonna.
might get,
Yeah,
you know, like on a trend like that. Yeah, I don't know that they're
exactly.
always
Like,
like
you want if you
quality
want
or
to go,
whatever.
if you're
Like,
gonna go viral and get a bunch of followers, you want followers that like actually are to do with what you know your target audience. Like, if you just get a bunch of random followers, that
yeah,
they're probably not going to be customers. That's just like a bunch of random people that are doing nothing for you. So yeah, with
exactly
yeah,
right. Exactly right. I think that's well said. Honestly, I think you said it
mm,
perfectly. Like trends are great, and I think that so many brands
yeah,
like profit off of trends, but
yeah,
if they're not relevant to what you're doing, then I completely agree. I suggest like steering clear of them.
yeah,
Don't just hop on it just to
yeah.
try to capitalize on, you know, some new followers or some views. Because oftentimes, you know, like we were just saying, as a brand, if you do happen to go viral
Mm.
with a trending sound or something like that, the
No,
audience isn't your audience. So it's just like people watching
yeah,
that aren't ever going to convert into sales. But as a business,
yeah.
I assume that's one of your major
Yes,
goals
I'm
on social
assuming you'd
media
like
would
that.
be some type of sale. Yeah, I'm assuming you wouldn't hate it for sure. Um, but I do think there's a lot of ways that you can
Oh,
turn
definitely.
trends into
Yeah.
being relevant for your brand. I really do. So like make sure you think about it and like don't just try to hop on it. But I do think that people like to
Oh,
see brands get in on the joke, or
100%.
like they like to see brands, yeah, like jumping in on the trends and like seeing
Yeah.
who can be like the most creative. Um, yeah, and
Mm,
okay, another tip I
mm.
thought of before we like wrap up, and I wanted to say like repurposing
Oh my
content that
God.
you already have is a really
Yeah.
good first step to humanizing your brand. Like you could take you know, a blog post that
Mm.
maybe someone on your team wrote and it did really well. Turn that into
Yeah.
a video and have that person talk about it. You know, and I think like don't try to like
Yeah.
reinvent the wheel, right? Just take what has already worked and like
Yeah.
amplify it. and turn it into
Yeah,
you.
definitely.
Turn it
And
into your
like,
brand
I think
voice.
an example I've seen of that is like brands who have had something go viral, and it's not necessarily like a humanizing thing. Like it might just be like of their product or something, but then they've been like, this went viral and this is what happened next, and like blah blah blah. I'm like, yes, tell the story. Like we want to hear your thoughts and opinions on like your experience. And so yeah, definitely like things like that, like
yeah,
telling a story behind a post that you've done or a blog post or a video. It's like,
so good.
do it.
Yes. Yeah. And you don't
Yeah.
have to like rethink up anything. I love that. Okay. So I think this is the last question, but what are some benefits that you have seen from your clients? Like when you've had them start to humanize their brands, like what are the, like, why? Like what are the benefits? I realize like on the person consuming it, they trust you and they relate to you, but I mean like metrics wise, like analytics wise, what are some of the benefits you've seen for businesses who
Well,
start to
one of
humanize
my
their
newest
brand?
clients, she is really good now at humanizing her brand, but when we first started, she didn't really kind of know really what to do, kind of struggled with just like figuring out the line between like humanizing and then just treating it as like a personal kind of account. And and so once we kind of started producing content that was really like appealing to people and showing like behind the scenes and who she was and why she started her brand and everything, the amount of inquiries almost overnight was insane. Like genuinely, she was messaging me going like, what is going on? Because we started posting content that was almost about her, but also very much about her business. And everyone was like, I trust this person. And the amount of loyal followers as well, like the follow count like is very much a vanity metric, but the amount of followers that were staying, like the unfollow ratio was a lot lower than what it usually is. But it, you know, it's totally normal for people to unfollow. For anyone watching, it's very normal. But yeah, she literally, all these loyal followers, they were like coming to her, inquiring about things and being like, I followed you for ages. I followed you from this piece of content, which was like behind the scenes or something like that. And like the amount of people that would start commenting and engaging, and the engagement rates are going up and the average comments are going up because she was being human, and people want to have a conversation with a human, so they're going to leave a comment. So it was just like perfect. We're like, yes, we got it.
Let's go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, that was like the whole point. Yeah. I love that story so much. And I can't tell you like I've, you know, stories like that, how many I've heard, just because it's such a powerful tool to tap into. And not enough people are still, not enough brands are doing it. And so any business owner, social media manager, content creator, personal brand owner, like they can tap into this and truly change the game for themselves on social media. I had one more thought and I lost it. Okay. I was gonna say a whole nother topic we could talk about another time though is finding that fine line between humanizing a brand and going a little too far the other way. You don't see that struggle quite as much as just not humanizing your brand at all, but you do see that struggle. And we would be remiss if we didn't talk about that. Like I was so glad I didn't even think about that. Because you can lean a little too far the other way where you're like, you know,
it's like
you're a
too
restaurant.
personal account. It's like, no, you're still a business. Let's just back it off a little bit here. Like
yes, it's so true. Yeah, like to where, you know, it's you're maybe like own a spa and you're like posting photos of your babies and your dogs or whatever, you know, which I mean, hello, I love babies and dogs, but I found you because, you know, wanted wellness and spa tips or whatever, you know, facial tips at home. So yes, I think that's a whole nother topic we can talk about, but I'm glad that you made the point because that is a trap that can be, I think, you know, pendulum can swing in anything. So pros and cons, but yeah, okay. Amazing. I got through all my questions. Is there anything else like you wanted to add on, any tips, any like points that you wanted to make sure we hit?
I think
before
just like
we wrap
the biggest piece of advice for brands looking to humanize and just kind of grow is don't take yourself too seriously. Like, just really don't, because no one wants to see that. There's a reason why like UGC content is so big right now. No one wants to see professional, like cookie cut, amazing like content. Like they want real, and they want relatable. They don't want this like professional jargon and professional looking content. Like, just be relatable. Don't take yourself too seriously, and you'll be fine. You'll be fine.
You'll be fine. I think that's like the perfect way to end this. Like, be relatable, be yourself, and you'll be fine. I love it so much. Milli, you're awesome. You're so easy to talk to. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your morning. And of course, let's do it again anytime. This was a blast.
Yes,
we'll have to talk about the balance next time between humanizing and going a little too far the other way. But I hope you have an awesome Tuesday. And for anyone watching, we will be replaying this video or reposting the video, so that way you can watch it back at your convenience. So have an amazing day. I'll talk to you soon, Milli.